Hey guys, CJ here. I'm going to try to do this in one take if possible. As some of you may know if you've been following our channel for a while, I'm a college student. Won't tell you where, but I'm a college student, and as most college students would know, if you've ever been to college or are in college right now, there are times where you have nothing to do, and then there are times when you just get insanely busy all at once. And this has been one of those weeks where I've basically been reading and writing pretty much non-stop for the past few days. So, and especially, last night, up all night working on a paper. So forgive me if I sound spacey or strung out, not on drugs, actually just haven't slept in 36 hours. But I felt so bad about not doing the Daily Mail, Daily News, not Daily Mail, forget Daily Mail, we'll get into that in a second. The Daily News yesterday, that I just wanted to make one lump video to some of the biggest stories of the last 2 days. And before we get started, I'd like to say go check out the 4,000 subscriber contest that we're running. It closes on Sunday, and we'll announce the winner Monday, but there's some really cool stuff for you guys to win. Or actually, one really cool thing that one of you guys will win, but there's another prize for another lucky guy in there as well. So not taking up any more time talking about that, let's get into the news. Paul Bettany will play Vision in Avengers Age of Ultron. That's actually going to be the biggest news story of the week, I feel. Yes, Daily Mail reporting Bettany and Jeremy Renner were both at Shepperton Studios in London, meeting with director Joss Whedon, doing costume tests, makeup tests, and working with stuntmen and armorers. Now, the armorers thing is interesting for Hawkeye as well, but for Bettany, that tipped it off, and they went on to say makeup experts were using different powders and stuff on Bettany's face to basically make the Vision chalk white. Now, that's an interesting way of going about it, because in the comics, he's actually pretty much always red-faced. But chalk white could work for me. It depends on how they do it. And what's interesting is this is something I had never considered. A lot of people were thinking that Jarvis would become Ultron or something to that effect. But this is clearly a definitely different approach, but it is something that I completely agree with and I think will actually be for the better in the long run. So Jeremy Renner having armor in the next movie is really cool too. That suggests that they know that they're up against a much bigger threat. So let's move into another big news story, this one from yesterday. The new Batman vs. Superman film is rumored to be titled Man of Steel Fight or Flight. Now, if they are going to do this, I really hope they drop Man of Steel and just call it Fight or Flight. Show the Superman logo or something so they know what it is. But yes, DC actually registered, or Warner Brothers registered, Man of Steel fightorflight.com. Clearly, this is a step up from Man of Steel Battle of the Night, Man of Steel Beyond Darkness, Man of Steel Black of Night, of course, spelled like, on a night, like the Middle Ages crap. It's clearly a step up from those, but it's not a very high step up. I mean, I can't remember who said it. I feel like it's Josh that actually said this to me. How hard is it to say... How hard is it to say Man of Steel World's Finest? Is it really, I mean, this suggests to me almost that they're going to definitely be doing something else with the characters, like definitely pitting them more against each other than we might have thought. But anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news. Yes, the Hobbit star Evangeline Lilly, also of Lost fame, if any of you were around in 2009. She's in talks for Ant-Man. Now, the role she would play apparently is going to be not a one-off appearance. It's going to be a recurring role, and she would play Hank Pym's daughter and Scott Lang's love interest. A lot of people were going crazy when this was reported and saying that she would be Wasp. And she might be Wasp, but in the way that, she inherits the role, maybe from her mother or something. It's an interesting case. She is clearly a very beautiful woman, could definitely pull off the role. But it's one of those things where I was kind of really hoping for Rashida Jones, but I'm not going to let that detract. Again, I had not considered Evangeline Lilly for the role, but she's a very hot actress right now, as well as a very hot actress. And so she's, very popular. But, she's gained a name for herself post-Lost. So we'll see how it goes from here. This apparently is according to Variety, so it's a fairly respected news source. And so she's entered negotiations, definitely not set in stone, but clearly something to, I guess, keep in mind. It could happen. And another rumor here for you guys, a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel is slated in 2016. Now, for some reason, I'll just title this episode of Daily News, Hybrid News Now, really. I'll just title this episode, Things White Sheep Never Considered. because a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel being rumored to come out in 2016 in Phase 3 is something that for some reason I had just not thought of. And maybe subconsciously it's the fact that I'm not sure if Guardians of the Galaxy is going to work yet. I think it will, and I hope it does, but it's just such a wild step. Like it's like the Neil Armstrong thing. One giant step for man, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. This would be a giant step for Marvel Studios. But yes, this would pitch it against Man of Steel 2. This would come out on the same day as Batman vs. Superman. I know Armin made a comment about how ballsy that would be of Marvel, but that just goes to show just how confident Marvel is in this film. And to wrap it up, let's talk about some other unheralded and just really just baseless rumors. I think that Doctor Doom will be gender bended like shitty fan fiction in the Fantastic Four reboot. Now, Josh Trank has already come out and said no, denying this rumor. Of course, Josh Trank kind of seems like an a-hole, honestly, from his Twitter account. But he's known famously now for just denying things that later come out to be true, like Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller. But anyways, who knows? It's not like I have anything against female supervillains, because someone made a comment about female supervillains and how this was probably a good thing. I don't have a thing about female supervillains. I don't have an issue. My big deal is, hey, why don't we actually give actual female supervillains a shot, like Cheetah, Cersei? I know those are both, DC and not Marvel, but things like that. Establish female superheroes that have a long backstory in the comics that deserve to have their story told. And with that, I get off my soapbox and start wrapping it up. Yes, the end is nigh for this episode. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Remember to stay at Hybrid News, or at Hybrid Network and Hybrid News Now for all your daily news stories wrapped up in a pretty quick vid. This one was not so quick, but because we had so much ground to cover, forgive me. And like I said, strung out. But anyways, don't forget to go check out the 4K subscriber contest, and remember to like and comment on this video, and also subscribe if you feel the need. Signing off officially, this is CJ.